Good morning. Good morning. It is Monday morning, your favorite day of the week, right? Yay, nay. It is mine. I love a fresh start, a new week. So, with that, let's talk about a little bit of motivation for Monday, self care and productivity. Can those two things actually coexist or are they separate? Are you either looking after yourself or are you working? Or what if we realize that we can actually have both. So, in this world we live in, often when we think about productivity, there's a hustle culture, grind, go, go, busy, more. And then we have this whole topic of self care, which sometimes gets put to an agenda of like, oh, we should have a luxurious day at the spa and like just sip, espressos or whatever it might be. But what if those two views on either side, we just threw those away and realized that there is actually a place in the middle that where those two things beautifully coexist. And that in order to look after yourself, you need to be productive. And in order to be productive, you need to look after yourself, right? This really isn't rocket science, but I just think a lot of us get confused about all of this stuff. So, let's look at a few ways how you can bring that to your life, okay? Because productivity, I don't know about you, but when I go to bed at night, I gauge the quality of my day based on how productive I was. I love getting shit done. Like I really do. I love to do this. I love checking it off. It just makes me happy, right? But I also love working out, eating well, all of those sorts of things. And so we need both of them together. So let's jump into these. Think about 9 or 10 tips here. So, number one, I want you to actually prioritize self care. Okay. If you want to be productive, you have to prioritize self care. Now, how do I know? Because I historically I like to grind. I like to get it done. If I've got a job to do, I'm going to put my head down and I'm going to get that job done. I'm not going to do anything until the job is done. But I've learned the hard way many times that when I do that, if I don't take breaks, if I just try to push through when I'm tired or push through I'm overwhelmed, I'm less productive. So a task that might take me an hour would take me 3. So instead, when I take time to be aware when I'm tired, when I'm exhausted, when I'm aware of like I need to take a break now and go for that walk outside. Put it off till tomorrow, whatever it might be. I'm actually more productive. And I want you to think of self-care not as days at the spa, but I want you to think of self-care as actually a lot of things I'm going to talk about today. Productivity and self-care are the same thing, really. Like it's mind-blowing when I think about it. So actually, let's just get right into them. Number 2, time block. Time blocking is a method of self-care because you have a lot of things on your plate, I'm guessing, right? You have to look after the kids, you have a job, you've got to look after your house, you've got personal needs, you have all of these things. And that can kind of start to spin out of control. And often, of course, as women, it's our needs that get put on the very, back of the burner at the bottom of the list. So you've heard me say this before. Google Calendar is your friend. It's color coordinated. I want you to pick colors like green is work, red is family, blue is personal, yellow is housework, whatever it might be, and actually create a weekly schedule that's blocked off. This is the first thing you do. When are your working hours? When are your family hours? When are your work hours? So you've blocked that off. Then, you're going to break that down in that green work block. For example, what are you actually going to do that day? You need to have plans and strategies for efficient time management. It will change your life. Like I promise, I started doing this like last year. I was doing some working with a business coach and implemented all of these strategies. I have more free time now than I have in years. And my productivity is probably it's at least doubled, if not more. Okay. So you're prioritizing self-care, you're time blocking. Number 3, you need to set goals. Okay. Realistic goals. And I've heard this quote, how does it go exactly? We tend to overestimate what we can do in a day, but we underestimate what we can do in a year. So I want you to set goals that are realistic for a couple reasons, because some of us just don't set goals. We're just flailing. We're just going through life. We're reacting to what happens. Well, you're never going to get ahead. You're never going to have that ideal life unless you know where you're going. You need to have a vision. You need to live with intention. So set the goals. What are they? And then be accountable to them, because there is nothing more rewarding that's going to make you feel good about yourself than following through on the actions you said you were going to do to reach a goal. And now maybe this is even just like, every January, everyone's like, okay, hey, I'm going to join the gym. And then people go for a day and they feel like crap, right? But the people that actually stay with it, that set maybe smaller goals, they don't say they're going to go to the gym every day. They're like, I'm going to go to the gym twice a week. They set a realistic goal. Therefore, it's more attainable. So it's a smaller goal, but because they stick with it long term, they have more success, right? You see where I'm going with this? Like, it's a different way of thinking. So set goals, let them be realistic. Sometimes you want to have these big, big, big goals, but then have little smaller realistic ones that are going to get you there, right? Okay. Am I actually going down a rabbit hole? It's quite possible. Number 4 is we need you to delegate and outsource. That is a form of both self-care and productivity. So I have a lot of hats I wear in a day. I have my Pilates studio. I have my coaching business. I have my online supplement store. I sell collagen. I'm a mom. I cook meals. I'm a wife. I'm a friend. I have all of these things I do. And this was probably the hardest thing for me to do, is delegate and outsource, because I'm a control freak. Who else is a control freak? You just got to kind of micromanage everything. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So one of the things in business, which has been huge for me, it's okay to hire it out, right? There's some smaller tasks that other people can do for you. So maybe you have a virtual assistant. Very good spend, let me tell you that. Maybe you start hiring out your housekeeping. Maybe you get a meal service. Maybe you start using more technology. Maybe you look at AI. Maybe you take up and use some of the apps out there. There's a learning curve with some of this stuff, especially if you're over 45, but it will save you time and it will create efficiency in your life. So you have more time to do the things that are important to you and that bring you joy. So delegate and outsource. Big, big suggestion. Set boundaries. This is hard for some of us. I think that just Generation Xers in particular, just the way we were raised, some of us are people pleasers. I hear that a lot. I've read a lot of self-help books the last few years. So if you're a people pleaser, this is going to be really difficult for you, because if someone asks you to do something, you're going to say yes. But what you need to do is you need to take a step back. You need to get on a piece of paper. You need to write down, what are my values? What are my priorities? And then you need to learn to say no to things that don't fit inside of that. Because there's only so much time. There's only one of you, and you can't be everything for everyone. That was so hard for me to learn. Just this January with my business, I really got good at that. And I actually had people in my team like messaging me and saying, hey, like, I really admire that you're setting boundaries. I see a difference in you. Like, what are you doing? It just starts to show, right? It's okay to say no to all the things, because there's so many things. And I love helping people, but we can't help everyone. We have to prioritize self-care, because if we're strong, when we're established, we can actually help so many more people, right? Versus saying yes and being tired and being burned out, and then really just not being efficient with helping anybody, right? I'm sure that makes sense. Rituals are important when it comes to self-care. So, I talk about healthy habits all the time in my Facebook community, Shine. I'm all about the pillars of wellness, right? We have to eat well, sleep well, think well, move well. And it's not complicated. Like, there are so many fad things out there, trends. You know what? If you break down any of them, they're all the same. They're all the same. Like, life is so simple. Living healthy is so simple. If you're confused, like, reach out to me, because let's talk. This is what I really love to coach people on, is like, let's just like cut out the excess, simplify things for you, and give you a few small habits that will just like catapult you forward. Like it's just brilliant. But self-care rituals. So what I mean by that is maybe, for example, you have a morning routine that's exactly the same every day. The alarm goes off, you drink your glass of water, you open the curtains, you get some light on your face, you do a stretch, you go straight into the shower, you get some water on you, it gets the energy flowing in your body, you brush your teeth, you maybe do a few stretches as you're getting dressed. Like it's the same habit every day. Your body loves routine. It craves it. So maybe it's a morning ritual. Maybe it's like that you exercise at the same time every day. Maybe you take your dog for a walk, whatever it might be. Maybe you listen to Christmas carols in November while you're working, right? Whatever it is, self care rituals can really improve productivity. And then, okay, now I'm digressing, but there's something called habit stacking. I think this might be from the book Atomic Habits. I'm not sure, might be. But if you're looking to incorporate a new habit, you just add something. Like you just take whatever this new habit is, you just add it to something that you're already doing. So if you have an established morning routine, right? Maybe what you want to change this week is you just maybe every time you brush your teeth, you want to listen to a podcast. Like there'd be a simple way to like add it to it. That's not a great example, but there's like just this idea of habit stacking. It makes take what you're already doing and add something to it. Okay, I'm digressing. That could be another whole live in and of itself. How's your support network? The saying, we need a village. We really, really do need a village. I'm, very fortunate. We live in a great community. I think of all the times here in Cochrane where we've had massive stress, a few years ago when the kids were super sick and stuff, and like food just got delivered and stuff. Like I have a great village, and my business partners, if I'm sick, they just do the work for me. I ask, like it's an amazing network of women. So you need to be around that. And if you don't have a good circle, if you're in a business and it's not good, you need to find a different one. Okay. You need to find a support network. And the lesson that I've learned probably the most this year is to be flexible and to be adaptable. So a lot of you know I started the Best Me program in January, and January to April, I was just like, boom, like every single day I was like on point with nutrition, on point with food. I was killing it. And then April, my dad got sick. And then the rest of the year, I was back and forth. And I had to really be flexible on the fact that, okay, I'm not going to be able to keep up the same regimen, but what can I do? And like, I'll be honest, a lot fell away, but I had to be okay with that. What can you do? Focus more on what you can do than what you can't do, because that's what's going to keep you moving forward, right? Life is full of curveballs. Like, I had that beautiful cruise there 2 weeks ago, and then I came back and I was like, yes, I can't wait to get back to work. And then I had, the flu, and if you saw my last week, I couldn't walk. I had sea legs, right? So I had to be a little bit adaptable to that. I wasn't on the treadmill with, influenza and sea legs. So I went for a walk with the dog. There's ways to still look after yourself and still be productive, but you have to allow yourself to be flexible. And then I think the most important one, and again, this year, I'm so grateful for this year. Anytime that there's a big, big hardship or a life stressor, if you're open to it, those are the biggest times in life to learn a lesson. And I learned a lot this year just about gratitude and being grateful for what I have. But it's important to constantly reflect and to refine, because what is working for you right now might not work for you tomorrow. It might not work for you next week. And things are going to ebb and flow. So I want you to think about, just to kind of recap what we talked about, is that productivity is important, right? Like when it comes down, I've got a work deadline. I have systems in place. Like I get it done. But I've gotten better at that because I've put more effort into self-care, right? Fueling with good fuels, nutrition, moving well, sleeping well, thinking well, all those things. You guys, you need to be in Shine if you're not. Or you need to be getting my newsletter, The Pillars of Wellness, because I am just super passionate about simplifying this for people. And my clients are always like, oh, that was so easy. Why didn't I figure that out? Well, because we didn't. It took me like 40, how old am I? 48. heading to 49, my goodness, 49 years to figure out some of this stuff, but there is a way. You can have both. Now I'm babbling. This is not productive when I babble. You can have both self-care and productivity. I would love to know how you meld the two, but hopefully that you can see that they're actually the same thing, right? So this polarizing view that society has that we either have to be like laying on a beach doing nothing or grinding, it's BS. Throw that out. The two actually intersect beautifully. And when you know who you are, when you know what your priorities are, it's much easier. And if you're confused about that, reach out because that's my gift. I like to help people dig and find that and really live their best life. Okay, I'm going to end this rambling. Motivation Monday is over. Have a great week, you guys. And this is really long. I did not mean to be on here for like 15 minutes. Sorry, it was going to be like 5, but I got excited. I'm passionate about this. Okay, have a great week.